Alright, here we go. The date is June 3rd. We're going to go back to the 2nd, though, because I watched some news yesterday, watched some news today, and we're going to talk about what happened real fast. I'm going to try to make this fast. The whole point, so you don't watch all this news, because they're all full of shit. So, yesterday, I was watching, when I woke up, it was on MSNBC. So I watched MSNBC, that guy Lawrence, who... Does this guy even have a man card? Okay, like between him and the other dude on MSNBC, Chris, I can't think of his last name. Holy smokes. I mean, could you be less of a man? For God's sakes. Okay, so Lawrence, talking about Russia. Again, with the Russia. Don't care about Russia. Russia told us Hillary Clinton's a horrible person. And... I mean, the chick belongs in jail. She's doing things that, hey, if Lawrence did these things, Lawrence would be in prison, okay? Hillary Clinton belongs in prison. Period. It's very simple. The crime is this. She committed it, as far as her emails, classified information and stuff like that. And she'll go to prison. If I took a picture in the wrong place where I'm at and sent it out somehow to anyone, I'm gonna go to prison, and that's all there is to it. So you don't do these things, but she did them anyway because, you know what, she feels like she can get away with it, and she is getting away with it, and that's gross. Then Lawrence went to talk about, this is June 2nd, the southern border, and how, I guess, a New York Times article, I have notes over here, this is what I'm looking at, I got some notes. A New York Times article says, well, Lawrence first says, on the southern border, they're ripping children from the parents' arms. Well, I'm pretty sure that's not true. And I know a bunch of Border Patrol guys, man. I worked for 2 years on the Texas border. Met a bunch of guys down there. All great guys. Nobody's looking forward to pulling kids from their parents. However, if you come to the country illegally, you're probably going to go to jail, and you can't take your kids to jail. Do you want to take your kids to jail? Why did you even bring your kids here when you were going to do something illegal anyway? Like, I never understood that about criminals in all my 12 years of being a cop. They're going to go steal from the store, and they got their kid in the cart, and they're stuffing shit in their purse, or in their pants, or whatever it is, and they walk out to the car, and they are just so shocked that they're in trouble. They're freaking stealing. They know it's illegal. They brought their kids to do something illegal because they feel like, oh, well, they won't do anything to me if I have my kids with me. Wrong. Wrong. You shouldn't have... Well, one, you shouldn't be committing crimes. Two, if you're going to commit crimes, at least have the decency to not bring your kids. But they bring them anyway. So Lawrence is a big crybaby. And, oh, they're ripping children from the parents' arms. Well, if the parents weren't doing something illegal, which they know is illegal, it's not like it's some thing that nobody ever heard of or whatever. If you come here illegally, you're probably going to go to jail, man, at least hopefully, because I don't want to pay for all your welfare and shit. So he's saying that. A New York Times article said it's from abhorrent to evil. Why does no one accept the responsibility that if they come here illegally, they're committing a crime? And so, just be responsible for what you did. Hey, I came here illegally. I hope to get across the border illegally. I got caught. They put, you know, the adult in jail, and they put the kids somewhere else. I mean, what do you want anybody to do? You shouldn't have came here illegally. I mean, I don't understand how this is a hard thing. Oh, and the ACLU, there's the American Civil Liberties Union, just always looking to sue people over dumb shit. And they have a lawsuit about it. Oh, well, I guess you should be able to commit crimes with your kids, and at some point in time, I guess your kids get put in jail with you? That, in some way, seems right? I mean, I don't understand the logic these people operate on. And then, so today, so this would be June 3rd stuff, there's really nothing else yesterday for news. I mean, seriously. Alright, so France, this was on CNN. France identifies terrorists but fails to stop their attacks. How is that possible? Well, I'll tell you how it's possible. Because France doesn't want the negative publicity that goes with saying, hey, these dudes are Muslims. They won't even say they're Muslims. Muslims are killing folks, man. That's all there is to it. Look around the world. That's what's going on. So I don't understand why it's so hard to say. It just is what it is. If the Muslim people get their shit together and say, hey, other Muslim people, stop killing people. You're making us all look bad. Well, then, you know, I guess things would be better and people wouldn't look at them so strange. I'm in a Muslim country. By no means are they all bad people. I mean, a lot of them are great people, and they'll share anything they have with you, and they don't have much. And they'll share it with you. They'll give it to you, and they truly live by it. But there's also a lot of people here, when I'm cruising around or doing whatever it is I do, that are terrible. Like, I've watched a dude beat his wife on a busy street. Nobody bothers to help. I'm not allowed to help. I wanted to help. If I did help, then I would get fired. So, it's the culture, right? Interesting. And I mean, let's bring more of those folks, right? Everybody wants the bleeding heart for these people. Yeah, just bring them on over. Start beating your wife on the city street. Oh, but then you're going to put him in jail, right? When he beats his wife in the United States. Oh, well, now you're just hating on Muslim. I mean, you can't win for losing with the American society. You just can't win for losing, and it's aggravating. All right. But yeah, France doesn't just, I mean, let's just call it what it is, man. France doesn't want to say, hey, Muslims are terrorizing their country because they've imported so many of these refugees. They can't control them. They don't want to look bad, and it's all just a big PR thing. Like, who cares about PR? Make me safe. You're my government, if I was French. Make me safe. And if it's Muslims that are causing the problems, man, let's start booting them out. Not that hard. It's just not that illogical. It's very logical, and it's a survival thing. It should be built into you, but a lot of these people ignore it. So, trade war. Everybody's saying Trump put these tariffs on the EU and Canada. It's on Fox and CNN today. About the trade war. He's tariffs mostly steel or metals, and they're all up in arms about it. Well, then don't buy it, okay? The United States can support itself. I don't understand how they're supposed to, and, you know, CNN, of course, calls them our best friends, and how do you turn on your best friends and stuff like that. They're not our best friends. They don't give us any money at all, right? We support them. We have troops in their countries, so their countries don't get overrun by invading powers because they're too weak to defend themselves. They can't do it. They would all be speaking German if it wasn't for the United States. So the United States came into World War II, and I believe we were 30th, and I'd have to go back, I'm thinking back to college. I think we were 30th in the world power. Grand scheme of stuff. We came out of World War II #1, right? With Russia, and then that's what started the Cold War and all that kind of stuff. But we came from 30th to #1, and then now all of a sudden we're supposed to feel bad for being #1. We kept Europe from speaking German. Okay, the Canadians are mad at us. In all honesty, Canada, seriously, stop. Right? You're like our, little brother. You don't want to fight. You're like some kind of pacifist. Actually, I know a bunch of their troops are here. Not a bunch. There's a few, and they're all really nice guys. They're all good guys, but come on, Canada, get over it. North Korea for the summit that's coming up. The summit's going to be June 12th in Singapore. North Korea, Kim Jong-un wants someone to pay for his hotel because he can't afford to stay at his hotel. I sure hope we don't pay for his hotel. We should not be paying for his hotel. And if he has to stay at the Motel 6, I don't know if Singapore has one, then that's where his dumb ass should stay. Don't care. You know, that's not my... I don't see how that's our problem. And so, that's something that's going on in the news. They're talking about who's going to pay for where he stays. Man, fuck that guy. If that guy can't afford to make the trip, man, then he can't afford to make the trip. So sorry for your loss. But, I mean, it is an important meeting. And so, he just might have to agree to meet on the DMZ, where he can get there for free. Or, you know, by car. And, hold the meeting. They got the buildings there for it. I don't know why they don't just do it there. I am going to backtrack. Yesterday, Rachel Maddow, MSNBC, I guess Virginia had some state elections. In their state elections, they, I guess, put a bunch of Democrats into power within the state. And Rachel Maddow, of course, I should not be able to tell. You can tell what I think, right? And that's cool. I'm not being paid to do it. I'm doing it mostly for my mental wellness. But they're getting paid to give the news, and I should not know what they believe. I should have no idea whether they're Democrat or Republican. But it's obvious that she's a huge Democrat. And a lesbian, which I don't care if she's a lesbian, it doesn't matter. But, I mean, why do you have to be so stereotypical looking? Anyways, probably shouldn't have said that. I should probably take that back. Not nice. Things to think, not things to say. So, anyways, she's talking about how Virginia voted some Democrats into power, and poof, this is a quote, poof, like just like that, 400,000 people have health care. Because that's what the Democrats ran on to get those spots. Alright, first of all, poof, just like that, nobody gets anything. Alright, everything costs money. And so, where does the money come from? Her whole segment about this was just how amazing it is that Democrats got voted in, which, cool, don't really care. But how are these 400,000 people getting health care? Who's paying for it? And so, just on my own, I googled, what did I put in? 2018 Virginia 2018 budget deficit. Okay, I could not find one for 2018. I did find one for 2015, where their $23 billion is 23,200,000,000 and something million in the red. Right? They have a deficit of $23 billion. So they don't have any money, right? They have the exact opposite of money. They're broke as fuck. And so, okay, you're going to give 400,000 people health care, but you're broke. That's like saying, hey, let's take it down from a government thing, just put it into a common sense thing. I don't have any money. I can't. My job pays me this much a month. My bills are this much a month. I'm making significantly less money than my bills, but I'm going to go out and buy the biggest, best cable package there is. That would be so stupid. But that's what they're going to do in Virginia. They're going to buy the biggest, best cable package to the tune of 400,000 people when they're already not making enough. $23 billion, not enough. That's insane. Okay? And not to mention, who are these 400,000 people that are getting health care? Who are they? That's what I want to know. Is this some elderly person that obviously can't work because they're old and they need help? And hey, yeah, sure, I'm all for taking care of these kinds of people. Or, and I'm sure some of each, but I bet the mass majority are going to be somebody who's probably like 30 or 40, 20 sometimes. And this is all you run into when you're a cop. All the time you run into it. Perfectly capable of working, but they just don't like working. They like doing drugs. That's what they like to do. They like to sit around, do drugs, and drink. That working thing just really ain't for them. And so, boom, here's some money. Here's some free stuff from the government. No, man, fuck those people. We don't need those people. If they don't have anything for themselves, then that's their problem. I don't like to sit here at work all the time, but I do it, right? Because I have to, and I want to take care of my people, my family and things, and everything costs me money. I don't necessarily make that much money, but I have to pay for healthcare. No one's going to give me healthcare, ever. Again, I said it in my other video, my healthcare costs went up when Obamacare was implemented, and it's simply because Obamacare was giving healthcare to poor people that don't want to work. Well, get a job, buddy. I don't want one. I wish I could sit around and do nothing, but it's not the way it works out. So, or, you know what? If you're going to give out these welfare programs like that, which that's essentially what that kind of healthcare is, and if you look around the world also, those healthcare systems are all failing, and they're all terrible. And so, yeah, people will go to Canada to buy medication or something because it's cheaper. But if you want to see the doctor or anything like that, from what I understand, there's a huge wait list, and it's horrible. And, I mean, a lot of people come to the United States to get surgeries done because we got the best in the world. And I'm not saying the insurance companies don't take advantage of how everything works, and that should probably be worked out. But hey, if you want healthcare, get a job. So, and if you got kids and you want healthcare but you don't want to get a job, well, I mean, that sucks. You should really be a more responsible human being. And it really sucks for your kids, man. I feel awful for them, but guess what? They're not my kids, and it's not my responsibility. Alright. So, where are we at here? Oh, and on just get sidetracked. On the Virginia budget deficit thing, so I sent an email to Rachel Maddow's show, and of course you'll never hear back. And so, I mean, it's kind of an obvious question. How are you going to pay for it when you're $23 billion in the hole? And they can never answer that. Alright, on CNN today, June 3rd, they're talking about how MS-13 is, okay, so CNN did a bit over MS-13 in El Salvador, how the United States government is funding the equivalent of police death squads in El Salvador. So, they did a segment on, hey, there's these essentially teams. I mean, here they'd be teams. When I was on SWAT, it would be a team. So they got teams on the El Salvador Police Department that they locate known gang members, MS-13 gang members, and they've been shooting them. Well, boo fucking who? Okay? If they weren't in the MS-13 and they weren't gang members, it doesn't sound to me like they're being shot. It sounds like if you're in MS-13 and you're a gang member and the cops come, they're going to shoot you. So probably shouldn't be an MS-13, right? But it's CNN, and they always got to play that, you know, oh, poor this person card. And so they do a specific case where the police came, they go to a known MS-13 gang member's house. I guess a confrontation ensues. They shoot him. You know, it's been weeks ago or months ago. And then they show the reporter talking to this MS-13 gang member's mother. And how, oh, it's terrible. They shot my son. Blah, 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 blah. Well, you probably should have been a better parent. So, not poor you. You raised an MS-13 gang member. Do you think that MS-13 gang member ever showed any sympathy towards any of their victims? No, they don't do it. On the streets as a cop, I'd run into these MS-13 guys. Complete dickheads, okay? Messing with them is a pain, especially in the United States, because everyone's watching, and everyone always says, oh, poor bad guy. Oh, that poor bad guy. Well, you know, sounds to me like the El Salvador police are giving out a little tough love. So if you don't want to get shot, don't be in the MS-13. Seems like it would solve itself. But apparently not. Apparently we should cry for criminals. Seems to be contagious in the United States. Something else that's not political or anything. New Mexico's on fire. I guess they got some wildfires going. They're trying to put them out. California has wildfires going, but big shock. They're always on fire. And then here's something else, and this is just me thinking out loud. If I was running the California government, which obviously I do not, then I would probably want to spend less of my budget on illegal aliens and more of my budget on equipment to fight wildfires, because wildfires seem to be a huge problem, but you choose to spend your money on illegal aliens, and so you'll continue to be plagued by wildfires. I guarantee you, if we were to go talk to all the firemen out there and said, hey, could you use more equipment, more men or women, not trying to be any way about that, men or women, then I guarantee you that firefighter would be like, yes, there's this piece of equipment that's out there, it's just not in the budget for us. I guarantee you that would happen. I work long enough for the government to know. And so you think that's what they would want to do, is have better equipment and less illegal aliens, but you know, they spend their money where they spend it. And finally, Hawaii, you know, still a volcano, still an erupting volcano, and now I don't know if it's the state police or the local police, they've been instructed to arrest people who refuse to evacuate. Now if you put yourself in the police officer's shoes, you get sent out there, someone's at their home or whatever, wherever they are, and you confront them, hey, you were told to evacuate, you refused to evacuate, I have to arrest you, right? I'm just here doing my job. And that person fights with you. And so now, but someone else is there and they videotape it. Oh my gosh, if they videotape a criminal being a criminal, you know you're supposed to evacuate. So, hey sir, turn around, I gotta arrest you. And they say, no, fuck you. I go to grab their wrists and they start struggling with me. So you take them to the ground. I mean, you essentially try to control their hands, get the handcuffs on them, depending on how much they fight. If they want to fight a bunch and you punch them in the head, man, you punch them in the head, and that's the way a fight goes. And then you get the handcuffs on them. If they just kind of struggle around and more or less trying to get away, I mean, you just try to hold them down and get the handcuffs on. No big deal. It goes whatever way it goes. But I guarantee you, you put that cop in a precarious position, because if someone videotapes it, well, now the police department looks bad, right? And they're going to cut ties with that officer, even though he did everything he was supposed to do. They're just going to go ahead and cut ties, and because it's easier. Fuck that guy, even though they sent him out there. He's doing what he's supposed to do. They're not going to back him up. And so now this guy doesn't have a job, and his kids are starving, even though he did everything he was supposed to do, and that doesn't seem right either. One of the reasons I quit being a cop is because that shit happens all the time. And so I would say, if I was running the Hawaiian government at all, you want to stay behind. We told you should evacuate. You didn't evacuate. It is now your problem. So when you burn alive in the lava, that's because you're too stupid to leave. Problem solved. Just go ahead and let nature work itself out and get rid of the stupid people. The world would be a better place. That's all I got for today. If something comes up tomorrow on the news worth talking about, or I don't have missions to run, then we'll probably do this again. But alright, take it easy.